What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin Cash. Hit that like button and subscribe. Shout out to the Dragon Riders in the House of the Dragon. Let's talk about some stuff today, you guys. I want to make sure the sound is all good. Yeah, everything looks good. You can see me, you can hear me. All right, cool. Let's talk about some stuff as far as Bitcoin Cash goes, because I have I wouldn't I don't know. I feel like this person tries to come at this from an argumentative this argument they try to come at this from a logical educated standpoint, right? They use things that more or less make sense, and I'm not going to point out anybody's name here, but this person keeps hating on Bitcoin Cash day in and day out, constantly, consistently. And that's okay. To each their own. We all, maybe you like Bitcoin, maybe you like some other crypto, maybe you just don't like Bitcoin Cash for whatever reason. But I feel like time and time again, any argument that this person has, it's like literally I can turn it around as an exact reason why Bitcoin Cash is going to do well, right? So first and foremost, the most recent, this is the one thing that it's fresh on my mind. I want to get it out there before we do any TA. This person was saying that Bitcoin Cash is not accepted at any merchants, any businesses. They made it clear that they're in Europe, and they were saying that they don't see it anywhere in Europe. Like, how is this gonna blow up how's it supposed to be adopted as a world currency if it's not used, if merchants aren't using it, right? And to be fair, I don't know if Bitcoin Cash will be used as a world currency. I don't know. I'm in it because I think it's going to gain value, because I think it has value. Maybe it'll be used as a world currency. Maybe it'll be used as a niche currency, or a kind of peer-to-peer cash that isn't accepted all around the world. But there's plenty of cash, maybe not peer-to-peer, but there is plenty of forms of currency that are not accepted all around the world, right? And in fact, the US dollar has diminished 99% of its value over the last 100 years, and it's accepted all over the world, but it's lost a ton of value, right? So that doesn't necessarily mean maybe it's used the most, but that doesn't mean that it's valuable, right? The dollar continues to go down because of inflation. So just first and foremost, that's not the right line of thinking, in my opinion. But they said merchants, right? So if you want to use that as an argument, let's do this, right? Let's do this. How many merchants accept, oh, not Bitcoin Cash. No, we're going to say Bitcoin, BTC. 15,000 businesses. Currently, over 15,000 businesses worldwide accept Bitcoin, including about 2,300 companies in the United States. Most crypto-friendly companies are small businesses, yes, right, niche businesses, and shoppers may not think to ask if they take Bitcoin. But places, I've seen it in America. I've seen it here in my own state, here in Colorado. They say we accept Bitcoin. I've seen that. I've gone to Central America, and I've seen signs that say we accept Bitcoin Cash, we accept Bitcoin. I've seen that too. So just focus on this number, right? It's over 15,000, but let's just associate it with the number 15,000. Okay, 15,000. Here's what Bitcoin's worth right now. Okay, at 15,000 merchants, which isn't ridiculous, right? It's definitely not the biggest, but this thing is definitely, it's captivated a lot of people's attention, and it has a very high market cap, the biggest market cap, largest market cap than any other crypto by a mile, right? 15,000 businesses. Now, BCH, over 3,400. So 15,000 versus 3,400. That would make BCH, rough math, this isn't accurate, it would technically be closer than this, but about a fifth, right? Let's just say it's about a fifth. 3,400 plus, 15,000 plus. Let's just say it's about a fifth, right? Because 3,000 times 5 is 15,000. It's over 3,400, but the other one's over 15,000. So let's just say a fifth. If we're comparing it using the logic that this person was trying to go off of, comparing Bitcoin Cash to having value based off the amount of merchants they have, well, then by this logic alone, the argument that you're using, which I'm literally throwing it back in your face here, buddy. So and I don't mean it as any offense, but I'm really just trying to show you like how you might think it's logical, but like really think things through. Okay, really think things through. Do your research before you just start saying nonsense. Because 3,400, by that logic, then Bitcoin Cash should be worth a fifth of Bitcoin. What's a fifth of $58,000? Well, I tell you what, it's a hell of a lot higher than $338, okay? So by your own argument right there, literally, you're saying already that Bitcoin Cash, what's a fifth of $60,000? Would that be, it'd be greater than $10,000, right? It'd be greater. And you were saying, I doubt 10,000 will happen. Well, right there, the math based off of the argument you were explaining, that goes out the window. 10,000 isn't even the minimum that we would hit. We would hit, if it's 60,000, it would be what, 12,500? Is that right? No, it'd be 12,000. 12,000 would be about a fifth, right? Essentially. 58,000, so a little bit less than 12,000. That would be what Bitcoin Cash should be worth now if we were basing it off the merchants. It's not how it is, but long story short, it does get me a little bit excited, right? Like if we were to compare it in this metric, 3,400 versus 15,000, I think Bitcoin Cash is one of the most used cryptocurrencies in the world, right? It's one of the there's no denying it. It is one of the most used in the real world. We've got the data right here, right? 15,000. That's the Mac Daddy. This is a fifth of that. I wonder how many places accept XRP, right? Which is higher than BCH. 1,700. That's not a lot, right? How many accept Solana? Let's go through 700 plus. Okay, hey, good for them, right? What about Litecoin, LTC? That doesn't even, okay, 4,000 plus. Hey, that's kind of interesting. Hey, Litecoin's got, and people are talking crap about Litecoin, man. Everybody thinks that I'm silly whenever I say Litecoin's going to hit 2,500 this cycle, but hey, man, it's actually used more than Bitcoin Cash, man. Maybe we should put our money into there. No, I'm just, I do like Litecoin, I do, but I like Bitcoin Cash more. Dogecoin even, right? 2,500. Like, you can't make this up. Numbers are in your face, man. I don't. Your arguments are moot, but you can keep throwing them out there because I think literally every single time you've brought up an argument, it's actually been used as fire to the point that Bitcoin Cash is going to do phenomenal. Let's get to the TA, guys. Let's get that's just something. I don't know if that gets you excited, if that proves a point, if that helps anybody with an argument. You learn some new information that you can throw if anybody's like Bitcoin Cash is pointless, nobody uses it. Well, that's not true. You know, Asia, like Roger Ver, and I mean I don't know, I don't really know any other faces. I mean I know a couple people by name. I'm not just going to go over it, but I know Roger Ver himself is a huge reason why so many merchants accept Bitcoin Cash. He literally like went around and tried to incorporate it, get a bunch of people to accept it and take it, right? I know Singapore, Asia, Central America, the Caribbean, you know, I'm Australia, right? I forget who it is. Make yourself known in the comments, but somebody who's been a long time subscriber has told me time and time again, maybe it's Cashies, maybe it's Bcashi or Cashies, I forget, said that they accept Bitcoin Cash in Australia in his own business. He has a business that does that, and he pays. I think you said you pay people in Bitcoin Cash. Maybe I'm making that up. I don't remember. But it's definitely not some kind of useless coin. Okay, it's cheaper. By the way, it's cheaper than Litecoin to transact. Okay, it's cheaper than Bitcoin by a mile to transact. Right? It's essentially got the same goal as BTC or LTC does, but it's just better at it. Like it really is. So I personally think Bitcoin Cash, whether it's a world currency, a world peer-to-peer payment system or not, I don't know. I think the people who want to accept it will accept it just like any currency, right? Like in the United States, the US dollar is accepted. You go around the world, most places will accept the US dollar, right? They won't accept other currencies. They'll just accept like their own currency or the US dollar, but that's because the US dollar is the world reserve currency. But the US dollar is not the most valuable currency in the world, right? And it devalues itself every single day, where Bitcoin Cash, literally as time goes on, it will only get more valuable. But enough of the semantics. From this low here to where we started our bull run and ended it recently. I mean, we didn't end our bull run, but the most recent high, we've interacted with the 382 of this area. And I don't normally measure this fib because it is just so far away, but I do think being around this 382 is a really good area to buy. Anytime we're below this line is probably a prime time to buy, but I do think we're going to see prices below $300 again at some point. Interacted with that 236 even actually a little bit there. I doubt that we would go to the 618. At the worst, I would think that we hold this 0.5 Bitcoin Cash does. It actually does love to do this, man. You can go through and let's see. I wonder if I can come up with some examples where it goes right between the 382 and the 0.5. It reaches for the 0.5, but it doesn't quite get there. Or it'll break the 0.5, but it doesn't quite reach the 618. If it ever reaches for the 618, it actually normally goes to the 6.9 if we get that far. But like here, right? You went a little bit below the 0.5, right? Here we're pretty close to it, but that happens a lot too. I wonder. I think this was a 618 retracement right here, if I remember correctly. It's been a while. But yeah, that was. Because that just time and time again, we were held down by that, right? Go back in time and maybe find some other examples here. You know, right there, just piercing the 0.5, right? From the all-time high to the all-time low, right? Just shy of the 0.5, just shy of the 0.5 several times, right? I mean, you can go through all kinds of time frames. Bitcoin Cash, it does love to find support in this area, and if not in this area, around 250 would be like the lowest that I would assume that we could go. And that makes sense too for a few reasons, right? We got a lot of weekly closes around here that it seems to be a point of resistance. Hey, we even got some support back here on a wicking basis, right? So we could go that low. I'm not anticipating that, but if we do, it's fine. It's still a higher low. I actually really do like this low. Just looking at it, it looks like a perfect higher low in this trend that we have, right? If we were to reverse here, we don't even have to do a V-shaped recovery. We could, I mean, that could happen, but we could just, you know, meander for a while and then take off. Who knows how it's going to look? It's probably not going to look like either of those. I would love it if it was a V-shaped recovery, but you know, Bitcoin Cash normally, after it finds its low, it does not run up immediately. It takes time, right? Even, you know, here, obviously, you found your low, it took some time. Here you found your low, it took some time. Here you found your low, you did have a quick pump immediately, but you really didn't carry on with it until some time later, right? It got given back. You know, this move here, it's essentially like the same as if like you just moved here. Obviously, it's not the same. Okay, people that bought here and sold here made a killing, versus if the move happened like this, it would be a little bit different, right? More consistent, less volatile. But the point being, after finding the low, it's not really common for Bitcoin Cash to just pump immediately. Yes, we pumped right after this low, but that wasn't the low of the range, right? This was the low of the range. Anyways, right? Like after this low, we pumped immediately, right? Or however you want to put it. After this low, we pumped immediately, but it wasn't a noticeable, discernible low. But I digress, man. The weekly RSI does look a little bit ugly right now. I'm not going to lie. I don't like the way it looks. I would love it if this week would close green. I would love it. But I don't know if it will. We're at 14% down right now. That would be an ask of moving up to about $390, right, to close the week. And personally, I don't see Bitcoin Cash getting above. It could go to 390, maybe. I would think really 380 would hold as resistance, or 370, right? I know I was talking about downside yesterday, and I still do think we're going to go lower. If not lower than this low, a slightly higher low or some kind of double bottom, definitely lower than we are now. But I did say in yesterday's video, you can watch it if you don't believe me, right? I did say that we'd probably interact with this area. We have some bullish divergence forming. We had the green day, so that divergence would be completed once we interact with this area specifically. So anywhere from 360 to 380, in my opinion, is fair game. We probably move up and then we move down. It would not be crazy to form a higher low, right? I am assuming that we go lower than that, just because actually, let's see. That is, to be completely fair, that is right at the 618, the relative 618 of this range. So that could be the low. I wouldn't be surprised if it was. It's not what I'm calling for. But literally tipped the 618. Literally couldn't get any closer. I'll delete that white line if you don't believe me. Boom, it's right there. It's literally right on it, right? So it wouldn't be crazy if that was the low. Bitcoin Cash does like, whenever it interacts with this area, it does like to go to its 6.9, in my opinion, more often than it does. Not even in my opinion, like literally historically speaking, it does like to go to the 6.9 more than specifically the 618. But hey, the 618 is the golden ratio. On top of that, it is an area that we've found resistance on before, kind of in this area, support in this area. You know, I did this, I talked about this yesterday, right? But I swear in yesterday's video, it was actually right in line with this. Maybe I was looking at it on a different chart, not Coinbase. Maybe it was like Binance or something. I don't know. All that to say, though, the weekly RSI does not have me excited. If in the next 20 hours we happen to move up 14%, all this downside would probably go away, right? It would, in my opinion, it would probably go away. We'd probably still see prices pull back after we, if we were to close this week green, we'd probably see a little bit of a pullback, but it would definitely not lower than that. Not even a double bottom or a high, like like pretty close higher low would be on the table. Yes, we have bullish divergence. Yes, we do. That does not mean we have to do this, right? All that means is likely we would at least interact with this area, maybe a little bit higher, and then probably pull back and resume the trend, which right now undeniably is a downtrend. We've been in a downtrend since April. Absolutely, since the halving. It makes sense, right? As we normally do for several months afterwards. If this is the low, again, I don't expect that we're just going to run up immediately. It'll probably be boring for the rest of this month, going into August. Maybe the end of this month, maybe in August, we'll start to see some things turn around, but I'm not too optimistic. It's looking like the fall time is going to be when the excitement's going to come back in the markets, but that's okay. Let's look at the 4-hour time frame, because I've really done very little on the technical analysis side. I've just talked a lot. From a low to a high here, hit the 0.2, relatively speaking. I mean, that to me isn't something that I've seen Bitcoin Cash do too often. It would make more sense, I think, to go to the 2272, which is at 277. Your 2618's at 262, 2886 at 250. Everything in this range makes sense, and it's just a slightly lower low. I bet we get some fibs that line up with this low. Maybe not this high. Yeah, it's probably because it's probably going to go higher, right? Was it 360? Is that where the day closed? Is this where the day closed? Yeah, it was. It was right up here at this 6.9 actually. Would be right there. And hey, your 1414, your 1618, they line up right with that area that I would expect it to go. But this is assuming we don't have the high yet. I wouldn't be surprised if we kept climbing a little bit. It's not common. It's not completely common. It is more common to find resistance in this area after seeing your extended zones and then moving down. But you could move all the way back up to your 618, 6.9 area, which is what I just projected out, right? And then go lower. That can happen as well. More often than not, though, I'm not even kidding, actually. More often than not, and this is going against the case that I'm trying to build here. When you get above this 886, if you interact with this area specifically and reject, more often than not, you actually find support on a higher fib. So you might actually find a higher low. It could come at the 1618 classic at 310 there. It could come at the 1886, which is technically it's not the next fib level up, right? Because 200 is not even a fib level. It's just a round number. Which actually, I guess, if you found support in the 1886 area, maybe the 1618 would be the next level up. I don't know. But at any rate, generally speaking, whenever you interact with the 618 area, when you break through this 886 and you move up, the idea of lower lows is still on the table. It's just less likely. Where if you reject the 886 to the 100 area, those lower lows are more likely. And again, still not guaranteed, but just more likely. So all that to say, guys, I just really wanted to kind of get those words out there. I think we might be moving up over the coming days, right? Coming day or half day, who knows how long it takes. Maybe even just today and tomorrow, right, to close the week out and then to begin the week next week. But I would assume next week we do resume moving lower. And next week is not far away, right? If we look at the weekly time frame, we have 20 hours left. So I'm talking about in less than a day's time, about a day's time that, well, honestly, probably about 2 days' time that we would start moving down again from wherever we are, relatively speaking. And if it happens sooner than that, cool. But, oh man, I told senior scientists that I would do Elliott wave theory. All right, screw it. Let's do some E waves, guys. Let's do it. I'm not all that familiar with E waves, but we're gonna go for it here. I mean, I'm a little bit familiar. Okay, so first and foremost, I think on the downside here we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? That's a zigzag, right? 5-legged pattern. It might be a zigzag. Let's see if it actually fits the parameters of that. From a high to a low, I think it just can't go above the 618, so yes, that checks out. And then obviously, oof, I guess that works because it didn't go above that low there. But let's just see where your third leg would go. Down to the 1272, 1618 area. I think that suffices. But the fact that you technically broke a little bit above that 100. I don't know if that counts, if that makes it right. And again, there's more than just the zigzag as far as corrective waves go. And corrective waves are normally a three wave pattern. A zigzag is a 3-wave pattern, but with it's like or is it a 5-wave with 3? Let's see. Hold on. Again, I don't know Elliott waves as much, but let's see. Zigzag pattern E-wave theory. Not new theory, no. 2 impulse waves that move in the opposite direction of the dominant trend. No. That isn't, no, yeah, AC, AB, oh, so it would be ABC. AC, the corrective. Is a zigzag? I thought the zigzag was a 5-legged pattern, not a 3-legged pattern. Okay, so it is a 3-legged pattern. I don't want your cookies. I think everybody in the world just absolutely accepts cookies no matter where they go, right? I always try to reject them or not accept them. I'm sure they're still getting my info even if I don't accept it, but you see, like, I'm not going to accept it down there. It doesn't I don't need to look at all this stuff. I'm just weird, guys, right? Zigzag. Here we go. Zigzag. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on your, okay, it is a 3-legged pattern, but with 5 on your 2 impulses. Okay, so I was kind of halfway right? If this was your leg 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe not. Maybe it's not a zigzag. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong too. I'm doing the wave count wrong. Again, this isn't my strong suit, senior scientist, but I'm trying to get a feeling. I would assume this is a running flat pattern, right? If you look at this thing overall, as far as like what you're probably looking for, right? It's probably this whole thing is an E wave, right? Like you got your wave 1, your wave 2, your wave 3, your wave 4, and then wave 5 down. But I don't know if that's accurate, right? Because I'm pretty sure the way Elliott wave theory works is wave 1, wave 3, and wave 5 are all bigger than their corrective waves, right? So like if this is 1, that's 2, this is 1, that's 3, and that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wave 5 would have to be bigger than wave 4, I'm pretty sure. Let's actually look that up. Does wave 5 have to be bigger than wave 4? A lot of people, I feel like anytime I do this kind of stuff where I write a bunch of things in Google, people are like, it's not going to pick up on that. But dude, you'd be surprised, actually. You'd be surprised. Wave 4 is typically, however, I don't know. So going back to the same one that I was just on there. No. What is the Elliott wave rule for wave 5? 5 waves move in the direction of the main trend, followed by 3 waves in a correction, totaling a 5-3 move. 5-3 becomes subdivisions, yes. Into a zigzag, flat, combination, or triangle. Wave 5 can only appear as wave 5 or wave C. I don't know. From what I do know, though, I'm not finding it on here, but from what I do know, waves 3 and waves 5 tend to be the biggest. So I personally don't really know, right, if this is or isn't an Elliott wave theory. I don't really have the best knowledge on that, so I'm just going to stop trying because I feel like I'm botching this whole last part here. But maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't know. Some people are calling this a downtrend, right, because there's lower highs. But the thing is we don't have lower lows. We have. Sorry, that was a horrible line. But we actually technically have higher lows. So it's neither a downtrend nor an uptrend, right? Right now we're in an uptrend. Technically, we're in a downtrend, a corrective pattern in this uptrend, and actually corrective patterns generally are 3-wave patterns, and you can actually see that here. If we go, let's see, Elliott wave correction, it's an ABC, right? So you have your A, your B, your C. It'd be a correction, right? Or, I mean, actually drawing it to this would be A, B, C, or maybe your B is here, whatever. That's your B wave, that's your C wave. C tends to be, but not always, but most of the time it is bigger than your wave A, and that makes sense looking at this, right? I would say we are in a corrective pattern. A corrective pattern of this overall move here, which is an uptrend, of which technically we would have one impulsive move, one corrective pattern. Second impulsive move, second corrective pattern. So we would go through our third and final impulsive move after this, right? And that doesn't mean that we're in a bear market afterwards. It's probably, this next impulsive move is probably not going to take us up to the targets that I'm calling for. But that doesn't, again, that doesn't mean we're in a bear market. That would just probably mean after this we see some kind of other correctional wave, maybe running flat, and then we start a new wave count, you know. But again, I don't know. I'm not the best with Elliott wave, right? I haven't spent my time researching it. The only reason that I can use it to some degree, and I reference a lot of things like Elliott wave forecast. I really do like Elliott wave forecast. I feel like they've got a lot, and the patternsite.com too. The patternsite.com for anybody that's looking to learn it. Let's see. Elliott wave, you know, it's a whole glossary of different things. I don't want your ads, Thomas Bulkowski. Yeah. Flat, running flat, triangle ascending, triangle. I mean, technically this would be probably a triangle descending, right? A, B, C, D, E, and then up. But you see how this, and senior scientist, you mentioned this in your video, it has 1, 2, 3 on the top side, 1, 2, 3 on the bottom. You don't technically need that, but that is ideal to see. But that would imply, if this is a triangle, if this is what it looks like, that would imply Bitcoin Cash is going all the way back down below $200. And I don't think that's going to happen, because in the amount of time that it would take for that to happen, the bull run would be over, right? Or maybe, I don't know, maybe we're going to go into a bull run in 2026. Like, it wouldn't make sense. I would think if we went down here that we're probably not going to break out to the upside. We're going to go down lower, but I don't know. Again, the larger pattern itself, I'm not so certain of, but to me, this does look like an impulse up, a corrective phase right here, impulse up, and then a corrective phase right here, right? We're probably going to see our next impulse, and that would be the end of it, at least for this wave count, if I'm accurate in that, right? And I don't know if I am. Look at that, right at the 2. That's kind of odd. Right above the 2. And here you are. Right below your 2. That's kind of nice to see. That gives me a little bit more hope that that could be the low, actually. Maybe you're having a flirtation with your 200 area. High to low, 2272 above, right? 3786 all the way back to your 2272. I don't know. Maybe you are respecting that one. I feel like this would be the one that you would respect more, though. That is the spring that sprung you, though, so that could be more relevant. But this is actually the low of the range, and in which case you went just above the 2 again. I don't know. And you found support right at that 886, that 1886. It's probably not the 3113. It's probably the 3782 or 3272. Where are you at, 3113? Yeah, right there, huh? Interesting stuff for another day, maybe. I'm not gonna go over that now, but I'm gonna end the video. I've rambled enough, showed my lack of knowledge with Elliott wave theory enough. Again, I know fibs, I know harmonics pretty well. I'm just not as well versed in E-wave, but to me, for what this looks, yes, this does look like a corrective pattern. You've got your impulse down, correction, right? This is even a triangle of sorts, or a running flat. I don't know the difference, or if there is a difference, but this third leg being larger than your first leg, it makes sense that this would be your corrective phase. And if this is a corrective phase, by definition, that would mean you are in an uptrend. Corrections are shorter lived than the overall trend is, right? So we're probably going to continue to go up. That's not the high. I'm very confident that's not the high. For anybody wondering if the market's over, it's definitely not over. I'm just not certain if we're going to resume moving up just yet, right? The last time, hit that like button, you guys, and subscribe for the rambles. From this high to the time that we broke out, that was 35 weeks, right? I don't think it's going to take that long. I really hope it doesn't, but we're already 12 weeks in right now, right? Come on, man. I'm trying. Why can't I get it right on there? 13 weeks. Okay. I thought it was a little further. 13 weeks. 13 weeks in. I mean, 35 weeks would put us out into December. You know, that would be a very boring rest of this year, but we wouldn't be moving down till then. We would slowly be working our way up, and we just wouldn't explode until the end of the year, which, whatever. If that happens, whatever. But I would guess, just based off of what we've seen, by the time that we do move up, if this is the low, which I've got to say I'm actually a little bit more convinced that could have been the low, but I'm still not quite convinced. I would say that I'm calling for that 260 to 250 area, right? Maybe 270 at the best case scenario. We're at 288 is the current low, so just a slightly lower low than that, which would give us different numbers than this. But our next move up would likely take us anywhere from like $1,200 to $1,800 around this high point, around the last cycle's high point. That makes sense to me. And that when that happens, it's probably not going to be this month. Maybe we begin moving up next month, but it'll probably be sometime after the summer's over that we see these prices. And that's all I got, man. That's the best I got. So have a good night. Take care of yourselves. Hit that like button. One last shout out to the Dragon Riders, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.